All right, now we're getting to a very exciting part of this course. And the applicable section is actually divided into five different parts, and you're going to go through all of them. The reason why I divided the applicable section into five different parts is to make it easier for you to understand the concepts I'm going to talk about separately. If I want to make one entire lecture that includes everything I'm going to talk about, and you're going to see that, I'm going to end up with probably a lecture that's an hour and a half or 2 hours long, and you will feel like breaking your screen while watching that. It's going to be too long, it's going to be too boring. So I want to break it down, and I highly encourage you that when I talk about a technique that you find to be interesting for you, something that you think can work for you, make sure to write it down, take note of it, because you're going to use it in the future when trying to apply it to your habits. So without any further ado, let's get to the applicable section, part one, on changing and controlling your habits. Now, the first rule I want to talk about is related to consistency. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend all the techniques, obviously, but pick one that resonates with you, pick a few that resonates with you, and use them. Try to see which one works best. And I want to talk about the 3-day miss rule. What you're trying to implement a new habit, when you're trying to implement that and make it part of your lifestyle, you might have days where you fail to keep up with the habit consistency. It happens. It happens. We all have days where we wake up and we're just not feeling that great, and we might miss on some of our habits. All right? Now, when this happens, people have a tendency to be too hard on themselves, and they end up quitting the habit altogether. They're feeling bad, and then missing the habit makes them feel even worse, and they end up saying, I'm a failure, I can't do it, and they quit. And the 3-day miss rule is an effective way to put you back on track when you fall. You will make sure that no matter what happens, you will jump back on the habit you're trying to implement within 3 days. Don't allow a habit to drag along undone for more than 3 days, and this will help you keep your consistency at a certain rate. And remember, 50% progress is a lot better than no progress at all. So you're trying to implement the habit of working out, let's say, and you woke up one day and you're just feeling really tired. You don't want to go to the gym, or you don't want to go for a run. It's fine. It's all right. But make sure that you don't miss it 3 days in a row. Don't miss it 3 days in a row. That's it. That's the first rule. Keep up the consistency with the 3-day miss rule. If you miss a habit, it's fine. Make sure you do it again within the next 3 days. And this will also enhance your willpower and your discipline in general. Another concept related to consistency is scheduling. Remember that planning to fail is failing to plan. That's why I included a lot of resources to help you plan and schedule. That's why I included the habit tracker. You need to keep track of your consistency rate, and that's number one. That's something I talked about a lot throughout the course because it's important. The reason being is because it was a pivoting discovery for me when I first stumbled upon that system, the consistency rate system. And a good way to calculate consistency is to have a monthly habit, for example, a monthly habit tracker. And every day, when you keep up with the habit, you give yourself 3.33 points. Now, at the end of the month, when you add up all the points, it'll round up to almost 100, which is your consistency rate formed in percentage. If you want to calculate it in any different way, you can do it. If you want to do it weekly or daily, you can do whatever you want as long as you feel comfortable with it, as long as it resonates with you. And I just gave you one example for you to understand how you might be able to calculate your consistency rate. And there is a section for calculating consistency rate in the habit tracker. So if you're still confused, make sure to check that out. And the other thing is scheduling. Scheduling is another thing I talked about often in this course. It's because this was also one of the systems that changed the game for me and my clients when we started implementing them. You will need a simple habit tracker. Simply take a piece of paper and write down the number 1 all the way down to 30, for example, and on top of the page, write the habit. And you're trying to implement the habit. So every day you do it, every successful day where you do the habit, you will simply put an X or a check mark next to the day. That's if you want to do it really simply. Otherwise, you can use the habit tracker that I told you about and it will do the job for you. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is take it up a notch. Follow a smart goal setting system in your schedule, which is also included in the habit tracker. I mean, I'm sorry, I know I'm mentioning the habit tracker a lot, but it's a tracker that I've used personally throughout years and that hundreds of my clients have used and it changed their lives. It will make your life easier. That's why I'm suggesting that you use it. Otherwise, you can just, implement your own smart goal setting system. But for those of you who don't know what the system is, we will talk about it in further lectures. And if you are in my advanced course, we will go through it in details actually. If not, there's going to be a detailed explanation in the habit tracker. And the purpose is to have a definite plan on your schedule, to know exactly what you need to do and how to do it, when to do it, as well as using it to monitor your progress. You can even go deeper and implement the smarter goal setting system. The reason why I added ER, and this is something that I might have mentioned for you beforehand, is E stands for evaluation. You want to evaluate your progress and your consistency. And R is add a reward. There's something you've been wanting to do, something you've been wanting to buy, going to trip out to California, for example, or buying, I don't know, the new Kindle. Whatever it is, don't do it. Wait and set it as a reward. When you keep up the consistency, for example, at 80%, or you do a habit for 20 days in a row, then you reward yourself. This is a way more efficient system. But again, we will talk about those systems in further lectures if you are in my advanced course. And if not, you're going to have all the information that you might need in the habit tracker to set smart goals, to track your habits, and to track your consistency rates efficiently and effectively. I hope you guys enjoyed this lecture. This was mainly the applicable part where I talk about the consistency, keeping up with the consistency and your consistency rate. So make sure to take that into consideration and let's go to the next section.